Hi and welcome back to
Inspired to Game. I'm Sean.
And I am Lola. Today we are talking about friends and family.
Don't tell them.
This is an expansion to Mythwind by Open Owl Studios. Now, if you are not familiar with the game Mythwind, take a look at our video. We will link to it and then have a link in our description as well below. This is a fantastic open world type game, which is a little unique in that it doesn't have any win conditions or even necessarily a natural end. You just play it until you're not wanting to play it anymore. You have characters that you play that you can develop your characters and master their skills, and there is an ongoing storyline that's really quite fun to explore. But when that storyline is over through the event cards and such, you can keep playing and play as much as you want. Now, we go into it quite a lot in that video, so if you're not familiar, do check that out. But today we are talking about friends and family. Now, friends and family adds an interactive component to the game. Whereas before you were playing your own character, each playing your own characters around and then working together on a village town that you're developing, but your characters didn't interact. This expansion changes that, giving an option for each of your characters to visit each other and get some kind of a benefit and help them out. Another thing this expansion does is it introduces friends. So some of the buildings now within the town have a certain friend attached to them. There's also a friend board that comes out. So when you develop one of those buildings with a certain friend that goes along with them, you put their card in the friend's tray. They start off as an acquaintance, and then over time, by interacting with them, you can increase them to a pal, to a best friend, or even then to a companion. Now, once you get one of these friends to the companion level, they offer a benefit that you can use when you visit their town location. However, if you get that card that offers you an option to propose and get married to that companion, then you take their card and you put them beside your board. Now their benefit is a private one that you can use with one of your workers during your turns. If you have chosen to marry a companion, then a card goes into the event deck that may lead to children. So you can have children in the game too. And this is an easy addition to the game. There's really not much to it. If that card comes out when you are married to somebody, and you can only be married to one person, then you will get a children die. And that all that means is that at the beginning of each round in the dawn phase, you will roll it and you can potentially you could potentially lose a coin, or you can earn a worker, either a sprite or village worker, or nothing happens at all. So it can be a benefit or a minor detriment.
Do you earn a worker or do you use that die as a worker?
You use that die as a worker.
Okay.
Yes.
So you either lose a coin because kids cost you money.
Yes.
You put them to work.
Yes, because
or nothing happens.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's a bring your kid to work day, I suppose, in that respect. And you only get one children die. So regardless, it represents however many children you do or do not have. It either costs you or benefits you or nothing. Now, I want to start off by saying in this review that if you are a fan of Mythwind, I think this expansion is a definite worthwhile investment. It really adds a nice dimension to the game. Now, I love the inclusion of the friends. What's really neat is each of their cards at each of the level, whether they're acquaintances, pals, best friends, or companions, it has a bit of a storyline about their character that develops as your relationship develops. And it's really fun to develop those friendships and to read that as it goes along. Again, also, it's nice that once they're at that companion level, they do give you an extra benefit that can really be useful in the town. And that's one that anybody can use unless you marry them and then you get them for your private use, which is really nice as well. But here's the thing too that's interesting is it is not easy to develop that relationship. It's a huge investment of your resources to get them to especially the higher levels. So it paces it really nicely with the development of your character. These aren't things that are going to happen overnight. You're not going to get married overnight. It takes time, it takes an investment of energy, and it paces perfectly within the realm of the game. And once you get to that point where you have that marriage possibility within the adventure deck, that also provides a bit of a driving purpose to get you adventuring more.
In addition, so originally, as you choose which companion you want to go after, that kind of helps guide you make decisions in which way you want to build your town. Because do you want to build the quarry and get this companion or that character built up to a companion, or do you want to go with the general store and a different companion entirely?
Yeah, and now here's the interesting thing though, is there are very limited spaces in the town board. And if you remove one of the buildings that you have put in that has a companion or who has a friend there, they go away when that building goes away. So if you need that space, you want to move that quarry, then that friend that is there is going to go away as well. And any progress that you have put into developing your relationship with them will go. Now, the only exception for this is if you are married to them, then they are in with your personal character board materials, and so then they don't go away because now you're married. But otherwise, if you put a lot of resources into developing that friend, you're kind of reluctant to take that building away, even if that building is no longer useful for you. Now, and that leads me to, this is something I've really wanted to see Mythwind develop at some point, is I really want to see an expansion where they develop more locations to develop, because there's a huge pile of buildings that you can create in Mythwind, and there's a lot of fun and excitement in doing the different ones and developing that, but there's a very, very limited amount of space. And if you invest a lot of energy in developing higher level buildings, you're kind of reluctant to take them out in the first place. Now you add friends on that you don't necessarily want to lose, and it makes it all the more challenging to decide which areas to use and which ones to let go. So I would love to see an expansion where they have additional trees for expanding the village so that you could use more of these locations and not lose your friends.
Yeah, because otherwise it's kind of cutthroat saying, well, I've only got room for 6, I can't remember what it is, 6, 7, 8 friends, and well, you didn't make the cut.
Well, and here's the thing too. So there is a certain amount of room in the friend tray for friends, and sometimes you do have more buildings than you have space, but you can put them in essentially what's a waiting period, and between rounds you can change out who's in the town and say who's off elsewhere gallivanting about who can come back. So there's a bit of flexibility in your friends as long as their building is still in the town. If it's not, then they're gone. Now, the other main thing that this expansion brings to the game is the interaction cards, as I mentioned. So this allows players around the table to directly work together as well. Now, what we found is there isn't a lot of power in this. There's no like really amazing moves that you get for it. The help is minimal, but it is nice to have it. Sometimes there are those moments in the game where, well, you just really need that extra 1 coin to purchase what you want to. And if that character comes and visits you, and maybe you can get that and you can complete what you want to complete. Say, for instance, somebody is playing the farmer. Now the other characters can visit the farmer's stand and can purchase a crop, thereby giving him some money that might be really beneficial for him at that point in time, and that crop will be able to benefit your character depending which character you're playing. So it is fun to have that addition of some player interaction brought into this game.
Yes, because otherwise in the base game there is no way for you to trade. So if you are playing a character that you have had for quite some time and you're making money hand over fist, you've got 40 coins sitting there doing nothing, and somebody else just started a new character, you can't give them any money in the base game. This allows a way for you to trade some money over.
And to help each other out, which is really nice. Yeah, because that happens. Like when you play with your character, you get a point where you have mastered them. You have mastered them, and now you're bringing in money every turn, hand over fist, as you say, and there's not much of a challenge anymore with that character. They feel complete. But that's at the point in time where we'll say, okay, well, let's change characters, because you get to change characters after each season, and that's an interesting thing with the game as well. You're not stuck with one one. You get to change them out every single season. We'll play somebody else now. You can freeze progress in one if you don't want to take them to their mastery point, go on to somebody else, and just kind of dabble with the different characters. Even if you bring one to completion and you move on to somebody else, you can reset them to come back and have the challenges starting all over them while you're still developing out the town and working through the events and the storyline of Mythwind, because it is such a beautiful story and it is such a beautiful board game. So my final thoughts on this one, I think that Friends and Family is a fantastic addition to the Mythwind game. I can't imagine playing it without it anymore because it just adds such a nice dimension. So if Mythwind is a game that you enjoy, you definitely might want to check out this expansion.
And there are 2 new characters coming in a future expansion. We can't wait to see those either.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for watching today.
Don't forget to stick around for the bloopers, and as always,
Happy gaming, folks.
In the know.
We're in the know.
We want you to know that we're in the know.
We're in the know.
You know?
You know? So now, Friends and Family, did I do it right? Now, Friends and Family adds an addition.
Expands the game. When you talked about the children die.
The children die. I'm gonna get some water. I am thirsty.
Many children, one died. That just doesn't, none of that comes out good. Innkeeper, she had 6 children.
Did one die?
One died.
I gotta say, apparently I don't. To begin with here on our review of this expansion, I think it is definitely
you don't get to know. And the children die.
Children die. You talked about the children die.
Children dice.
But it's not dice, it's a die. Children
There's
die.
Dice. There's one per person, up to 5 dice.
But
the children dice.
But you only ever have one.
You only have one die.
So when the children die, when you roll, the children die.
Teaching them the ropes.
Exactly. So kids can be useful. They can be very, very useful. I remember when I was young and naive and I thought I wanted us to have children because I didn't want to do as many chores around the house.
I'm still mowing the lawn.
So that's funny.